deserve to have the best physical, mental, spiritual, Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Football season is back. We are back into full swing with the Jacksonville Jaguars going 1-0. I was at the game yesterday and had a good time. I'm going to talk a little bit today about just, the confidence and where it comes from and how do we keep it. There's a lot of, and the reason I'm thinking this, because there was, a couple kickers that didn't really perform really well yesterday in the NFL. And Younghoe Koo from the Atlanta Falcons kicker missed a game winner, and it's plastered all over and everyone's upset and so forth. But I just, I want to kind of just refer to, my experience again. Everything I talk about on this podcast, it comes from just my experiences. And, I obviously, with football, playing at the highest level of football in the world, I had to have some determination and hard work and ethics and so forth to be able to get to that level and also maintain that level for 9 years like I did. But I've learned a lot in that process of getting the NFL and staying in the NFL. But it all kind of has to do with confidence and where you actually you achieve it, how you get it, how you maintain it. There's a lot of different peaks and valleys. Of course, we all are going to fail. So you've heard the term that it's all about how you deal with failures, because we all are going to fail. It's inevitable. So, but in getting the idea of being confident and how you can be confident and have success, there's a process to that. And whatever it is, whatever skill it is in your life that you want to master and do the best you can, clearly you want to be as good as you can doing it, but there's going to take some time and practice and effort and work that's going to go into it. But it all kind of comes down to your mindset. It really, physically, if you're capable and able and gifted enough to do some cool stuff, like I was, as far as, the gifted part, I was given and gifted a good form and technique that really works. It works really well. But what really, you get the idea of confidence when it comes down to the successes that you're having. We all can work on on stuff, work on things that we think that are helping us, but they may not be the right stuff. So we can always work hard on things, but the idea really comes down to understanding what's the right thing to work on or things to work on. And then from that point on, you're going to get success from there. But we're going to take a quick break and hear from a word from our sponsor real quick. And then when we get back, we'll get into the nuts and bolts of being confident and having success and the process it takes to get there. So we'll be right back.
At 3, we want to give you the true health benefits that you're paying for, something you can feel and see a difference quickly. Each product is packed with powerful plant-based nutrients that are combined through a proprietary curation process and then infused with innovative cellular absorption technologies to ensure the nutrients absorb into the cells for maximum wellness. The quality and effectiveness of our life-changing products is evident by their approval to be included in the well-known Prescriber's Digital Reference, or PDR. PDR has been a valuable resource to the medical doctors and providers in the healthcare community for decades. Our products are GMO-free, clinically studied, and third-party tested, all designed to support health and proactive wellness for everyone.
So as we were talking about before, it just has a lot to do with, having success in life has a lot to do with being confident and this kind of a process that takes some time to develop. But like I mentioned before, it's a mindset. You have to really understand how to deal with certain situations, because we're all going to have situations in our lives that can make or break us. And too many situations where we're dealing with negative things could literally end up turning someone into a very negative person and a very pessimistic person. We'll say I'm a very optimistic person, sometimes a little bit to a fault. I see good in people. I see good in things. I'm the glass half full type of person. So I want to make sure that, when there's things that I'm challenged in my life, that I can, revert back to kind of how I dealt with situations in football. Man, it was a very incredibly stressful position to be a kicker in the NFL at the highest level, football in the world, and everyone's watching you and critiquing you. And I thank God at times that there wasn't a social media around when I played. Right around the time I retired, around Facebook kind of became a thing. And yeah, there was I think maybe something else, but MySpace or whatever that might've been. But my point is that, I didn't have the opportunities to see any negative, talks, because everyone have their own opinion about people. And there's a lot of people out there that could talk a lot, but as far as, saying they could do is better than you or whatever, clearly they can't, but they just want to tell you that. But that's the thing, is like in how negative you could perceive things when people criticize you for stuff that your job, basically. I don't go into, I mentioned this during a game, I think it was against the Carolina Panthers up in Charlotte. Somebody was egging me in the crowd. It just would not stop. And I finally turned around and I said, "Hey man, I don't go to McDonald's and bug you while you're back there flipping burgers." I know it was kind of rude, but he was incredibly rude. He bring my family in this whole thing, and like he was really, really bad. But he got a chuckle out of it, and I did too. But that's my point. Is like, we're in a spotlight where people are always looking at you, critiquing you, and they always have their opinions. And so it's easy for others to criticize people in certain industries and sports and things like that, as far as football. But my point in saying all that is I could never let that stuff bother me, because obviously it's not true. It's, those things are just trying to get in my head, basically, is what he's doing. And that's the game. I get that. But, the process of becoming successful, you're going to run into things like that. You're going to have people criticize you. You're going to criticize your own self. You're going to wonder if it's really worth your time and effort and energy to do this. But it all relies, on passion. Of course, I had a passion for kicking football, and my goal was to be as good as I could possibly be, and that was the challenge. And of course, the NFL was the highest level I got to, clearly. But that's my point, is that, as far as I can, as long as I can do the best that I can every single day under the circumstances that I'm given, I have to be okay with that. That's my day succeeding. I'm succeeding that day, and that's kind of goes back to that whole concept of the process of discovering success and having confidence and all that. It's all evolves around having confidence, because it can be a good thing if clearly, if you have a lot of confidence, you're successful. Things come better, and yeah, you're going to have missed field goals. You're going to have things in your life that are going to be negative, and you're going to have some setbacks, right? Well, that again is how you deal with them. But if you're confident in what you're doing, and you love what you're doing, and you're having success in what you're doing, that it all that's the win right there. Yes, if you're playing on a team sport, or you're in an office doing a team project, yes, you're part of a team. But your role is your role, and so your ideas, your concept is really to do the best you can for yourself, clearly, as your role. But then also your role helps the team as well, and so that's kind of where you can find some success and some confidence with your team members, applauding you and really telling you you're doing a good job, and really thankful for you, which is another cool thing. As a kicker, people sometimes think we're strange, we're different, but I was never that way. I was always one of the guys, I'd always, work out hard with the guys, and, I gained their respect by just being a normal person. And when they were confident in me, even if I missed a field goal in a game, they weren't all bent out of shape about it. They would lift me up. And I think that's a huge deal for your confidence, for your self-confidence, of course, but it starts somewhere. And I think that when you find success in whatever you're doing, and you become more confident because you've become more successful, but that could go the opposite direction too. So that goes back to how you deal with that, with the setbacks. So if you're very successful and you have some freak thing happen that you failed at, well, how are you going to deal with that? You learn from it, clearly. And I've talked about that in many episodes, where you always get to learn from your failures. Don't ever treat a failure as something that is such a negative thing, and you don't ever want to do it again. And it's just like, don't ever look bad or think bad about a failure. Failure is a learning opportunity, is what it is. All boils down to that. And so when you're able to do things in a successful fashion, if you're prideful and put a lot of time and effort in what you're doing, and you find that success, you're going to be confident. You're going to be more confident. And so then you have those setbacks. How are you going to deal with that setback? If you treat it as a negative thing and you're just also worried about failing, you're going to lose your confidence. And if you second guess yourself, if you don't think that, if you have no idea what you did wrong, and I really, if you get caught into a situation where you have no answer, that's a tough one, and it takes some time to develop. But I promise you, the more successful you are and the more confident you become, you're going to enjoy what you're doing, clearly, but also with regards to just the idea of having that confidence, that gets the ball rolling. And I'm telling you that you talk about being on a roll, like, baseball players hitting, hasn't had a strikeout in how many games or whatever, or pitchers, throwing a no-hitter. Those are the rolls I'm talking about. You get on a roll and I'm kicking field goals. I've got, 20 in a row that I've made. That's me being on a roll. And certain games I've gotten lucky. I know I hit the ball really bad and I still made the kick. So there are times like that. But, with regards to just understanding, having, confidence in what you're doing, it all stems from the process of becoming successful. And during that journey, this is really my point I'm trying to make, is during the journey of whatever it is you're doing and have that passion for, you're gonna have failures and you're gonna have successes, but in the journey is where your confidence is really created. And also, with regards to the how you perceive it and how you talk about yourself or to yourself or what you think about yourself is a very important thing. I know that there was a study that I think it was in China. In China, they did this years ago, I believe, and I keep seeing this on social media, and just I'm on all kinds of motivational channels, and I watch stuff like that, and it's very inspiring to me to see things like this. But this one particular study, they were talking to water. So they would put water in these glasses, and one cup of water had people talking negatively to it. Okay, they're saying bad things about it, telling them that the water was bad, or just made bad comments to the water. And then the other group had the water. They were saying good things about the water and telling the water it was great. And just, I know it sounds silly, but they were talking positively to the water. Well, they took those cups of water and they froze them, and it was incredible to see what they found is that the water that was talked to negatively, the crystals didn't form well. It was just, and it's the same water, no difference in the water, and it just was dead. It was really nothing lively about the water at all. The frozen water at that point, ice at that point. But the positive water, when they looked at that under the microscope, they saw these beautiful, looked like snowflakes and crystals, and it just looked really, really beautiful. And that's the thing, is like, you think water has energy, and here's the kicker, no pun intended. Our bodies are 60-70% water. And think about that. If you're talking negatively to yourself, and if you are pessimistic and you're always, you're Debbie Downer, and you're always talking bad about things in life, all your experiences, you weren't given a fair shot or whatever, you're all constantly thinking and talking negatively about yourself or just about your situation, whatever, your body, the water in your body can hear that. It's weird. Call me crazy, but I'm a firm believer that the water has energy. It has an existence, of course, but with regards to just what it was, it can hear things, and you are making yourself to be a better person when you talk positively about yourself. That's why people say manifest things. Think about things and picture yourself at the highest level of whatever in the industry you're in, and picture yourself with loads of money, and you're very successful, and you have a beautiful family, and think positive things like that. And that's kind of like I'm referring to that manifestation, really. When you manifest things, you think highly about them and very, very positively about them. good things seem to kind of happen. And so that's another thing that I think that's really gotten me through a lot of setbacks and situations where I wasn't really proud of or happy with, and poor decision making or whatever, or just negative things happened to me, and it was out of my control. I had no control over it. But I can look at it, two different ways. I can look at it as a pessimist, or I can look at it as an optimist. And I chose the optimism side because that's just my nature too. By the way, I don't know where I first started thinking about being positive and being optimistic about things. I think as a child, just having friends and having fun with your friends, and everyone gets along, and so forth. I think it kind of starts from there. You're loving family, your parents love you and treat you with respect and discipline, of course. But there's a lot of things that can affect your life in the long run. But it's again goes back to your mentality and how you're dealing with them, and how to deal with certain setbacks and situations that you find yourself in. But as far as being confident and having the ability to have success, the process or the journey, there's a lot of different things that happen throughout time, throughout the whole journey that you're learning about the skill that you're doing, or whatever it is you're referring to. But you have that mindset, and if you have a positive mindset, you're going to enjoy what you do. And if you have a negative mindset, I don't think you're going to be really very happy with what you're doing, no matter what it is you're doing. That's why we always talk about find something that you're passionate about in your normal everyday job. Like, find a career that you don't treat as work. You find a career that you would do anyway. It's like a hobby, but you just happen to get paid for it. So I know that's a struggle for a lot of people, myself included. I told you guys in previous shows that I didn't prepare myself very well when I retired from the NFL. I thought, I got some money. This is great. I can, and the way I retired was slower than most, because I was given like this injury protection benefit for a whole year. After, basically after I retired, I was still getting paid by the NFL because of my injuries. But so with regards to kind of just the way that, I wanted to play as long as I could, but after 4 back surgeries, I had to hang them up. But understanding where I'm going to be after football was not even on my mind. I didn't even look that far ahead. I was just kind of taking it day by day, and I kind of still do the same as well. I take it day by day, but I'm taking it a little bit more serious, obviously now. But it's tough to find certain passions, and of course with my sports, history of playing sports and being in the profession for so long, and having the knowledge, and the interest in my health and well-being has shifted me into this sort of zealous wellness in the path that I'm on now with regards to fitness and nutrition and just well-being, and so that's what I'm trying to make sure and really see how other people are and get and motivate them and just kind of be that person that can understand situations. Believe me, I've had a lot of setbacks in football and life, and I'm divorced. No one wants to get married, and no one thinks they're going to get married and know they're going to get divorced. You don't ever think about that kind of thing, but it happens. It happens to the best of us. It happens for other reasons, but you're going to deal with certain situations in your life, and it really, really boils down to how you're going to deal with it. Are you going to deal with it as in a negative way or a positive way? And again, going back to the whole water study and that concept I was just sharing with you, and you're speaking, kindly to yourself, boosting yourself up, speaking positively, confidently, good things will start to happen. And that the opposite is true as if you're speaking negatively. I've definitely have had periods of time in my life where I mentioned this before, where I was a little overweight, and I was not a very happy person. And it was shortly after my divorce. Clearly, I was very distraught and not myself. I didn't want to go to the weight room. I didn't want to work out. I just ate. That was my comfort, is just food. And I put on some LBs. I sure did. And I was not very happy. And I learned a lot about myself at that period of time. I thought, dealing with football and the stress that comes with the kicking position, I thought that, man, I firmly believe that I did at one point have an ulcer. I don't know. I never got really checked out or anything like that. I just kind of toughed it up and said, okay, just forget it. Let's do this, and I didn't worry too much about it. But my point is that it was very stressful, and I dealt with it the best I could. I think I did a good job of dealing with stress in the NFL, but it comes with the confidence. I knew what my capabilities were. I've witnessed myself clearly making a lot of kicks. So when the minute I miss a kick, I'm not thinking, "Oh, I'm the worst kicker ever." I'm thinking to myself, well, okay, we got to figure out what was wrong. I need to go back to the basics and just do my form, my fundamentals, and all that. I can bore you to death with all the stuff, but with regards to just how I dealt with it, that's kind of my point. Is like referring to how you deal with setbacks, and again, the confidence. Going back to the whole point of this show, is the confidence is built. It takes time, and there's a certain patience that you have to have as well when you're trying to develop this confident attitude and confidence within yourself. It requires you to be patient. And what I mean by that is, again, I talk about with fitness and with nutrition, you don't expect to go into the weight room the first day and start benching, 400 pounds on the bench press. It's going to take time for you to develop, stronger muscles. You're doing a bench for a whole year before you hit 400 pounds on the bench press. Okay. Same thing with nutrition. I see it all the time. People say, "Oh, this is diet." They're within a week, they've already quit their diet because they hadn't seen results. Man, that's crazy. You're not patient. You have to give it time. The fitness part. Remember, I keep talking about the hump. And so when you in your fitness, it's hard when you're getting back into shape. It's tough. It's a nightmare. It's really difficult. But those kind of people that treat it that way and are not patient enough to see what they could be in a month from now, because they're expecting themselves to be in shape and look, lose all this weight in a week, and they give up on it because they're not patient enough to hold on to it and see what it can do. And so that's where it all comes down to. Is your confidence is built by being patient and having success clearly, and then also how you deal with failures is a huge deal too. So I think in general terms, in normal everyday life, being optimistic and confident about yourself, it starts with that. I think once you get to a point where you feel confident, you've had success in the things that you've done, you've had experience. That's another thing too, that, sometimes I get a little, kind of quieter, but I just want to chill out and hang out and not really leave my house. And there are the other days where I want to get out and meet people and talk to people and socialize and all that. But my point is really when you're out there getting experience by meeting people and witnessing things that you're not witnessing inside your own home, other than maybe on TV or something, you're growing. Your brain is learning things, and the more you learn and the more you understand about life in general and just everything about it, all the greatest parts about our lives. Once you understand and be, you're optimistic about where you are in life, and if you're not where you want to be in life, well, have some confidence to get there. Just all it takes is just changing your mindset. Maybe not being lazy. I've caught myself being lazy many times. As a matter of fact, today I was kind of lazy. I went to the Jaguar game yesterday, so I was a little worn out from that. We were gone all day. So I was kind of recovering a little bit from the game yesterday, but it was a lot of fun. And anyways, my point is really that, there are days when you don't want to do stuff. There are days when you do. We always talk about, like, Michael Jordan. I was just watching a clip that one of my friends sent me not too long ago about leadership and Michael Jordan. He always says, he's always talking about, like, I will do the hard work and I get on people that are not working like me. That's what made him so great, is he showed up on days he did not want to be there. He didn't get, like Michael Phelps, I don't remember, he said it's like 1,000 days in a row he worked out or something. I can't remember what it was. But my point is, with regards to people who are incredibly successful in life, no matter what it is they do, they put in the work. And then the other thing too is they keep you accountable too, especially if you're playing a team sport, or if you're involved in some sort of a team aspect. You have to be accountable to your teammates, and so that's another reason to show up. And hopefully you have teammates or people that you work with that will call you out. And that's actually what Ricky had sent to me today, and that was his message to me was, don't be afraid to be called out. And I'm okay with that. I played for Tom Coughlin. I promise you, getting called out was part of the deal. Like he would embarrass you in meetings because, hey, my kicker's missing kicks. He'd make excuses and all this stuff. And yeah, I was humbled quite a bit. Like, oh, yeah, he's right. But it's okay that it makes you grow. It makes you more accountable. It makes you a better person when people can share with you what they think. And again, it goes back to that confidence thing. Yes, you may have discovered you weren't too confident in a certain situation, and you let your team down. Well, that's just a lack of confidence. And so let's build that confidence back up again. And the other thing too, I'm clearly about the accountability. I think that's a huge deal. When you're having to be accountable for people, that puts pressure on you to step it up. If they're counting on you for a certain thing or a certain aspect of whatever the team concept is, and you don't provide that, you've let your team down. And so you don't want to let yourself down, because you're letting your team down as well. And so there's a lot of reasons why we need to stay positive and be optimistic about life and learn things from people and stay confident, even though we're not going to be perfect all the time. That's another, obviously I've mentioned this before, it's how we deal with our failures, but just expect them. We are going to fail, and don't treat a failure as a very negative thing. It's a learning opportunity for you to grow and understand more about your life and you as a person. So hopefully that something resonated with you all today. I'm just a very positive person. I try to look at the positives in life, and I want others to be that way as well. And that's my goal and my passion to share with y'all on Zealous Wellness about your health, your fitness, your nutrition, your mental mindset, and how to deal with things. I think I have a different way of looking at certain things because of the position that I was able to play in football and in the NFL. And especially as a kicker too, because I'm like the one. It's not like I've got other guys, where I'm not like a receiver where there's other receivers on the team. I'm just the one kicker, and that was my job, is to kick field goal and kick field goals, kick points, and so forth. But I've got to do my job and be accountable for my teammates, and in the process of doing that, I'm becoming a better person as well in the process. So understand this whole journey of success and confidence, and building that confidence, and understand you have to be patient and don't look too far ahead. Understand that things take time to build. Okay. And you have to be patient and not impatient in a way where you want all this stuff to happen now. I understand, the world we live in today is very, very fast paced. People are impatient. I get that. But really, with regards to just having the confidence and knowing good things happen over time. You can't, you may get lucky and get rich quick sort of thing where you invested in a stock that got a tip on, and next day you're a millionaire. That does happen, but it doesn't happen very often. Okay. So, and don't be afraid that, don't feel worried it didn't happen to you. Give it some time. Time is a big deal. It's a valuable resource. We have time to learn and grow and become more confident. So let's do that. I hope you guys have an amazing Monday night. It's Monday Night Football. Any of you NFL football fans out there? I don't even know who's playing tonight. I was oblivious to most of the NFL today, other than watching some of the highlights from the games that were played yesterday. But NFL's back. Hope you guys have a great night, and watch that Monday Night Football tonight. We will see you next Monday night at 5:30. Take care.
Thank you for watching Zealous Wellness with Mike Hollis. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. See you next time.